Hey there, welcome to this introductory course for building out automations using Make.com. Thank you so much for signing up within my school community. To kick things off, I just wanted to go through the landing page for the website and show you some of the things that it can do. I've personally been building out automations using Make.com for a couple months now, and I've just recently launched this school community to provide value and teach others how to build out these automations to ultimately save time and money for your business. And Make.com is one of the best platforms to do that. You've got a couple other options like NAN to choose from as well, but that one has a bit of a steeper learning curve. So I find that Make.com is the best. So if you want to look through the website, I'll leave a link down below where you can sign up. It will be an affiliate link, so I will get a small commission. Just know that. But yeah, you'll be taken over to the main website here. And as you can see, you can get started for free, and then they offer paid plans as well, starting at around, I believe, $10 per month. So very affordable, and that basically just gives you more operations that you can perform every month. So yeah, $10.59 per month, which will allow for, I think, up to 10,000 operations per month. So I'm on the paid plan because I use this tool quite frequently, and I'm always building out more automations, right? And that's what I'm going to show you how to do in this course. So if you want to read through this website, you can do so on your own. There's a lot of different companies using this platform to save time and money for their businesses. You can use it for marketing, sales, customer service, any number of things. And there's a ton of different modules that you can connect up within Make.com. And it's very easy to use as well. So hopefully you're excited to learn more about how to build out automations using this powerful platform. Again, there's a link down below if you want to sign up, and then you can get started for free. I will see you in the next course module. Thank you. Once you've created your free account on Make.com and logged in, you will be presented with your dashboard. As you can see right away, this shows how many operations you've used. And it looks like for me, I'm pretty much maxed out, almost 87% used, because some of my automations are running on almost daily basis. And I've also been scraping leads recently, which is quite resource intensive, but that basically just resets every single month. And you can see some of your active scenarios here as well. I've got LinkedIn post automation, an emailer that's running on school, and then I'm automatically posting on X as well, formerly known as Twitter. So that's basically what you can see here. You can also see your subscription plan, some of the installed apps. I'm using this one for generating AI faceless videos. And that's basically the organization tab. And then you can also access your team tab as well, which is basically the same thing. And scenarios. This is what we're going to be focusing on for the most part throughout this course. This is where you're going to be building out your automations. As you can see, I've already got quite a few different automations built out. And I do recommend upgrading to the paid plan, especially if you're using this on a daily or weekly basis, and it allows you to create a lot more scenarios. I think the free plan, you can only create 2 scenarios at once, and that's fairly limited. So if you want access to build out more automations, then I highly recommend upgrading to the paid plan. They also have AI agents as well, but I would not really recommend using Make.com for this. It's much better to use a platform like NAN. The AI agents functionality that's built into Make.com is honestly quite lacking in a lot of ways. So I haven't even really touched this all that much. I'm mostly just focusing on the automations that you can build in Make.com. That's what it's best for. And you've also got a tab for templates. So these are essentially pre-built templates that you can just slap right into a scenario, and they work right out of the box. And as you can see, there are literally hundreds, if not thousands of them to choose from. So I'll show you a little bit more how to do this in the next module. But yeah, there's tons and tons of options using all sorts of different modules that you can build out and just get started right away. You don't really have to know how to build one out yourself. You can just use one of the pre-built templates. So stay tuned for the next module where I'll show you how to get started with this. And you've also got connections here. So these are basically just the API keys that you've set up that will allow you to connect up to the different modules. So as you can see here, I've got one for Airtable, which is a module that you can build right into Make.com, is built right into Make.com. You just got to connect up your API key, which I'll show you how to do a little bit later. I've got one for Claude, Appify, Dropbox, Facebook, Google Drive, lots of them built in here. Also YouTube. So they've got a YouTube module in here as well. And you've also got your webhooks, which are basically just like listening devices. So when you get a connection request made on a website, it will just be listening for that. And it can just start running the automation automatically. That's essentially how it works. And there's a couple other ones here as well, which we're not going to focus on too much in this course. We're mostly going to be going through scenarios and templates. So in the next module, I'm just going to show you how to set up one of these templates, and it takes, less than 5 minutes. So stay tuned. See you in the next module. Thanks. Okay, so let's get started building out our first automation using one of these pre-built templates. As I mentioned, there's tons and tons of options to choose from. The list just goes on and on and on. And you can also search as well up here as well. So let's say you want to find something that sends emails. You just type in email and then you can search and it will pull up all of the templates that can send emails right here. So if you just search for email, it will find all the templates that send emails. So this is still a very, very long list, but it has boiled things down a little bit. And this one right here looks quite interesting and it's also very simple to set up. It will send an email using Gmail from a new Google Sheet row. So if I want to just put this into an automation, I can select the template, it will load it, and it shows you exactly what it does. There's only 2 modules. You're just connecting up a Google Sheet, and then every time a new row is added to that sheet, it will send an email. And I'm actually using a template very similar to this to send emails to new people in the school community where you're watching this right now. So it's definitely useful. And if I want to import this into a new template, I could just select create new scenario from template right here. And it will create a new automation right here. It's automatically put it into a make.com scenario. And now I've just got the module, which is waiting. You can see the clock right here is basically just waiting on new rows to get added to the Google Sheet. And then it will automatically fire off an email using the Gmail module. So this one is super simple. And all I have to do to get started is click on the Google Sheet module. And from here, I can give it a Google Sheet. So if I want to create a new Google Sheet, I can do that, but I've already got a few here. So just for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to select this one, and then you can select the sheet name. This is a sheet that I already have set up, but if you want to set up a new one, you'll just have to go over to Google Sheets, create a new Google Sheet, and then it will automatically pull it in here, and you can select it from the list, right? You've got a couple options here as well. You can enter it manually. You can select from all, but in most cases, you'll just use search from path. And don't forget, you will need to connect up your Google Sheet here before getting started. You simply sign in with your Google account, and then you can connect up the Google Sheet account here. And you'll just have to authenticate with your API, and that's pretty much all there is to it. And then you'll have your Google Sheet connection. And then here you can select whether it has headers, like a row at the top with headers. In this case, I'm just going to set no, and you can select the table row as well. And in most cases, you will just set the limit to be 1 because you're just going to be searching for 1 row at a time. And that's pretty much all there is to it. You can also display advanced settings as well, but in most cases, you won't really need this. And then just click Save, and that's it. Here, you can choose where to start. I'm just going to say all. So it's going to search through all rows in the spreadsheet. And that's it. So now the Google Sheet module is set up properly. And then the next step is just going to be sending the email. So in this case, once again, you will have to connect up your Gmail account. So same thing, you're just going to want to sign in with Google, connect it up, very straightforward. And then here, you're going to insert the email address. So based on the row that you have set up in your Google Sheet, whatever row has the email address, you're just going to click and drag into the email address field, and that will supply it with the email address. In this case, I'm not going to actually run. Well, I could run this. Let me just run it real quick and show you how this works. In this case, I'm actually just going to unlink this for now so it can only work on the Google Sheet module. And as you can see here, here's an email address, right? So it's pulled in an email address from this sheet that I already have set up. So now if I connect this back up again, all you have to do is click and drag and it will connect it up. I can come over here and I should be able to pull in the sheet, the row with the email address. So in this case, it's row C. But since this one's not actually set up yet, I'm just going to drag that in, and that will pull in the email address. And then subject line, you could just put whatever you want here, such as, hey, do you have a minute? Something like that. You can choose whatever subject line you want. Keep it specific to whatever email you're sending. And then content is just simply going to be whatever content you want to send in the email. So, hello, how are you? I don't know. You can put whatever you want here. And then you can also choose to send attachments as well if you want to do that. You can copy yourself as a recipient, like a CC. So if you want to CC yourself, you can do so here. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So now, if I want to send this, I don't want to actually use that email address because then it's going to send that person an email, which I don't really want. So I'm just going to send myself a test email and put in my email address here. And then I'm just going to send it to my other email address, right? Just for the purposes of this example, I don't want to be sending an email to somebody from the previous step. So I'm just going to run it, and it should send me an email right away to my email address. So now, if I come over here, I'll search on my phone, and I should have received the email from the automation. And let's check. Yep, sure enough, there it is. I got the email. It says, hey, how are you? I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, there it is. So it sent me the email. It didn't go to spam. It hit my inbox. And yeah, that's just a very, very simple automation that you can set up using one of the pre-built templates. I leave it up to you on how to use this automation. You could, if you have a school community, you could automatically send emails to new members. That's one of the ways that I'm using it. And yeah, let's just get started. So hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next module. Thanks for watching. Okay, so now that we've built out an automation using one of the pre-built templates, I want to show you how to create a new scenario from scratch. This is how I typically do it. I don't really use the templates that much. I'll just create a new scenario. Under the Scenarios tab, you'll click on Create a New Scenario in the upper right, and it will load and automatically drop in an empty module. So here, once again, you have a lot of different options to choose from here, all sorts of different modules. There's literally thousands of them to choose from. And it's just a matter of finding the one that you want to use, right? So for example, they do have ChatGPT in here. So if I come up here to OpenAI, I can select OpenAI as an example. I'm just going to click on that. And from here, I've got quite a few options here to choose from. In this case, in most cases, I would just select create a completion / prompt. So I'm just going to click on that. And boom, now we've got an OpenAI module. Once again, you will need to connect it up using your API key. So in order to get your API key, you'll just go over to platform.openai.com. and you can get the API key and put it in here. Once that's done, you can select create a chat completion right here, and that uses GPT and O1 models versus legacy models. I would just select create a chat completion. And then you can select your model. So if you don't know about ChatGPT models, then just do some research. I would recommend GPT 4.1 in most cases. That's usually the best, or 4.0, depends on what you want to use it for. And then from here, you can simply select the role. So in this case, I'm just going to select user. If you have an assistant set up, you can also select the assistant, or use an assistant as well. But in this case, I'm just going to select user. And then here is where you're going to enter your prompt. So this is basically just going to be issuing the prompt to ChatGPT, and then you can do something with that. I've used it to create AI faceless videos. I've used it to create posts for social media, which I also have in my school community as well. I have all these different automations that I've built out using things like ChatGPT. So you're welcome to check that out too. But in this case, you would just issue it a prompt, whatever, put whatever you want in here. I guess I can say, you are a helpful professional assistant for consultants. I don't know, whatever. Just give it whatever you want here. And then you can also select image input if you want to do that. But in this case, I'm just going to leave that empty. You can generate images as well using ChatGPT, and then, for example, post them on social media. That's something you can do. So that's basically just going to issue it the prompt. If I click on run, it should run, and then it will output something, right? So here we've got the result is, thank you, I'm ready to assist you with any consulting related tasks, whether it's preparing deliverables, conducting research, organizing project plans, blah, 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 right? So that's just, essentially, you're just asking ChatGPT to do something, and it's returning that, right? Now, from here, if you want to add another module, you can click here, and then you can put in another module. So let's say I want to do something with that completion, or I want to put it into an Airtable, for example. I can select Airtable, and then I can create a record, just as an example. So Airtable is basically a way to store data, and I sometimes use Airtable just for providing data and then putting it into something else, right? So as you can see, I've already got a couple different Airtables set up here. If I want to create a new one, I can come over here to Airtable real quick, and hopefully I'm already logged in. I should be. So once I'm over here, Airtable, I can create or open up my table, and I can basically just output that data into a new Airtable. So if I create a new table within Airtable, I can start from scratch here, and then I should have access to this within make.com, and I can show you how to basically output something into an Airtable. So now that I have this new one created, if I come over here to refresh, it should pull it in automatically. And there it is. So if I select untitled base here, I can select the table and then basically just output that result into the Airtable. So if I come over here, I can just take that result and put it in here as an example, and it should work right away. So if I click on and run that again, we should see it update over here automatically. There it is. So it just took the completion from ChatGPT and put it into an Airtable. And then from this, you can basically do any number of things that you want with this. And let's say you want to generate an image, for example, as well, using ChatGPT. You can do that too. So let's say we want to take that result and create an image out of it. So if I type in image here, it can generate an image as well. So once again, I'm going to select the model. And in this case, you can select DALL-E 3. And the prompt would be what I just created. So that's the result from the previous step. Or since it's already in an Airtable, I could just take the result that I put into the Airtable and put it up here, right? I don't actually need the Airtable in this particular case, but I'm just using it as an example. And then once it's generated the image, I can also, this is the key thing here, is I can publish it as a post on Facebook. So this is where the real true power comes in for the automations. Basically, you can just create posts on social media using the automations, right? So in this case, I want to create a photo post, I believe. So if I create a post with photos, that should do it. And once again, as usual, you would just have to connect up your Facebook account here, and then you can select your page. So I'm going to come down here to Be Remote Consulting. That's my Facebook page where I want to post it. And then it can simply upload the photo, or you can download a photo from a URL as well. So that's it. And then for the message, I would just probably put in the result from the previous step right here, and that's it. So this may or may not work. I may have to add an additional step here, but let's give it a try. Looks like I may have done something wrong here to upload a photo. So in this case, I will need to do an HTTP request, I believe, to get the photo. So in this, I would unlink this, and then I would add in an HTTP request. So basically, it will get a file, and that's going to get the file from the previous step. So I should be able to get the data here. That's the URL. So we're going to take the data URL from the ChatGPT image, and then it's going to get the file, and then it's going to download the file. So you can get the file from the previous step. That should work. So if I run it, we'll see if it actually posts to my Facebook page. Looks like it did have an error here. So this is something that you have to deal with while you're building out the automations. It's basically just overcoming errors, right? And in this case, looks like there's a runtime error 400. I'm not exactly sure why it's having an issue here. I may not have access to DALL-E because I'm actually on the free plan of ChatGPT. So let's try to change that to image 1, and let's see if it works again, if it works this time. Okay, so now it's running, and we'll see if it actually posts. Looks like it did have an error again, unfortunately. It says organization must be verified to use that model. So unfortunately, since I'm on the free plan of GPT, this may not work, but if you have the paid plan, it should work, no issue whatsoever. Let's see if it works with GPT-2. Hopefully it works this time. Looks like it is working this time. And it should post to my Facebook page if everything goes according to plan. It takes a little while to generate the image, but it should post. With the sound of music. And there we go. So it's posting to the Facebook page. Let's see if it works. And there we go. So it just posted the image to my Facebook page. I'm not exactly sure what that says. It's in some foreign language or something, but the proof is in the pudding. It has posted to the Facebook page. So that's how to set up an automated image generator using ChatGPT that will post to your Facebook page. This also works for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, any number of social media platforms. Hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you in the next module. Thanks. Next, I want to show you one of the automations that I've built out, which is quite powerful, that will automatically scrape leads from a platform called Apollo. So that's this one right here. It's called the Apollo Lead Scraper, which is available in my list of templates on the school community. You can grab all of my templates for $97 if you're interested. This one is included in that package. So this is one that I'm using to scrape leads and put them into a spreadsheet. I've built this out in about an hour, and it's not super complicated. It uses a module called Appify, which is in charge of doing all the scraping. And basically for that, you just have to pass in some JSON right here, and it does the scraping of Apollo. So this is essentially how it works. Appify is free. They give you $5 of credits per month. I'll show you what it looks like real quick. If we come over to appify.com, I can show you right here. If I go to console, they provide a lot of different scraping tools that you can use for different platforms. and one of them is Apollo. So this one right here, Apollo Scraper. I've also got a full tutorial showing how to set this up from start to finish on my YouTube channel, which I will include as the next module in this course. But I just kind of want to show you like a big picture overview of how this works. So once you've got Apify set up, you can essentially take the JSON right here, and this is providing it with a URL that you're getting from Airtable in this case. So you do have to do a little bit of manual work in order to set this up. It's not 100% automated, but it definitely saves a lot of time scraping all of the leads or manually adding all of the leads in Apollo yourself. Basically, what I've got set up here is an Airtable, similar to what we talked about in the previous module. It's just getting the data from the Airtable and putting it into a Google Sheet. So it's adding it to a sheet in this case, and then it's basically updating the record, just basically saying, okay, this one's finished. So I'm marking it as done right here. And then it's passing that into the Apify actor right here to scrape the leads. So it's just passing in the URL that I've already put into the Airtable over here. And it's also just adding the job title to the Google Sheet as well from the previous step. So in the Airtable, I have a list of job titles that I want to scrape from Apollo. It's just putting that in as the title for the sheet. And from there, it's basically just scraping the data. Since I'm on the free plan of Apollo, I can only get about 100 leads per search. And if you want more leads, then you will have to upgrade to the paid plan of Apollo, which is about $60 a month. So I don't really see the point in doing that for the time being. I can easily scrape multiple searches, 100 at a time. And then basically I'm just putting it into an array here. I'm getting the city, email, title, country, industry, last name, first name, and putting it into an array. And then I'm essentially just iterating over that. So I'm going over each item in the array and adding it to a Google Sheet right here. So right here, I'm passing in the spreadsheet ID from the previous step when I created the sheet. If I come down here, you can simply click and drag that in there. And then it's passing in the sheet name as well. So that would be right here, replies, sheet, properties, title. So that's the sheet name. And then it's just adding in all of the fields right here. First name, last name, email, phone number. I needed to add the quotes so that it formats the phone number correctly. Organization number, title, industry, city, and country. And that's it. So this works perfectly. I'm using this to generate leads. Instead of showing you running it right here, I'm just going to include the full tutorial that I already have on my YouTube channel in the next module so you can watch it and see step by step how to set this up and how it works. Saves a lot of time and also money for your business as well, because you don't have to pay $60 a month or however much for Apollo. The nice thing about using the automation in make.com is that it doesn't count towards your credits. So if you want to just basically pay for Apify, it's cheaper than Apollo, and you don't have to go through and spend a bunch of money based on the number of credits that you're using. So I think Apify starts at around $39 a month, so it's definitely cheaper than Apollo, and also saves a lot of time so that you don't have to do all of this manually. And that's the number one thing that I want to teach people how to do in this school community, is to save time and money for your business. And this is one of the ways to do it. So check the next module for the full tutorial. I'll see you there. Thanks. I want to show you another automation that I just built out in make.com, which automatically scrapes leads from Apollo and puts them into a spreadsheet. So if you're not familiar with Apollo already, it's one of the best tools available to find leads in any industry, pretty much completely for free. But they do have limits on how many leads you can generate per month based on which plan you're on. So right now, if I come over to my credit usage, you'll see I've almost maxed out my credit usage. And every time you add a new lead into the database, you'll have to pay for 1 credit. So they've recently clamped down on that a little bit. And that's why I've decided to use Appify to scrape the leads from Apollo, and that way I don't get charged for credits. So if you're not familiar with Appify, it's just right here, appify.com. They've got a bunch of different actors that you can set up to do different things, and one of them is Apollo. So there's this one right here, which can scrape up to 50,000 leads, which is a lot, and it's only about $1.20 per 1,000 leads. And they also give you free credits as well, up to $5 per month. So chances are you won't have to spend anything to start. And yeah, so I'm going to be using this tool right here. I've already provided it with the URL from Apollo over here. So if I go back to people, this is the URL. You just basically just copy and paste this into Appify over here. And you can scrape right here. So I've just run it. And as you can see here, it scraped the leads. It put them into a spreadsheet, which is over here. So I've got the spreadsheet of leads right there. And it only scraped 100. I'm just scraping 100 for now. And yeah, so this is a really powerful tool. And I've just basically put it into make.com. So first I'm creating the Google Sheet, just calling it Apollo Leads. And then I'm running the actor in Appify with the JSON here. So that's my URL that I want to scrape. And I'm just saying, okay, scrape 100 leads. And then I'm getting the items. So I'm just getting the dataset items. I'm passing in the ID from the previous step. So just clicking and dragging that in. It gets the data items. I put it into an array with the first name, last name, email, phone number, industry, country, city, all those fields. And then I iterate over the array and put the rows into the Google Sheet right here. So it should be interesting to see if this runs correctly. I'm just going to run it real quick. And, okay, so that sheet name already exists. I need to change the name here. I'm just going to put, in this case, it's head of growth. So I'm targeting heads of growth at companies. Those are the people that I want to reach out to. And over here, I can put the sheet name. I need to create a new sheet over here. So I'm just going to create a new sheet. And we'll actually let's create a new one. So if we come here, we can, how do I create a new sheet? So I'm just going to create a new sheet and call it head of growth. There we go. And now I should have gotten this working before I did this video, but anyway, it should show up here. So there's head of growth, and that should be all there is to it. Now, again, it's saying that sheet already exists. So I'm just going to leave this empty. And there we go. So now it's running the Appify scraper on Apollo. And this usually takes, I don't know, like 30 seconds, not very long, depending on how many leads you're scraping. And now, as you can see, it's just adding all of them into the Google Sheet. So if I come over here, we should see, yeah, there we go. So it's updating. There's all of my leads right there with emails, phone numbers, everything. And this is 100% automated. It looks like the number field is not working correctly, but that's not that big of a deal because I'm mostly just interested in the emails. And there we go. So we got 100 fresh leads, basically, in the database, in the spreadsheet. And now we can basically just take those emails and put them into some email marketing tool and send out the emails. You can use AI for the scripting, all that. You can use ChatGPT to write the scripts. And that way you don't necessarily have to use Apollo, although there's a lot of really nice features that are built into Apollo. It's actually a lot easier than going through and manually adding all these people into the database. You can just scrape it using Appify. And if I refresh this, it should show my usage. And this resets every first of the month as well. So you basically get $5 for free, essentially, every month. And I can take a look at, yeah, I haven't even increased my usage. So I'm going to provide this full template, which is going to be available on my Gumroad page. Let me know if you're interested in checking it out over here. and it's free, or pay whatever you want. Pay whatever you want. So let me know if you're interested. And with that being said, signing off. See you in the next one. Cheers. Peace.